today what we're going to do is make scarves, but we're not going to do it the old-fashioned knitting way because that takes so long. We're going to do something called arm knitting, and arm knitting is super fun. It's really easy once you get it down, and you can do it while you're watching TV or whatever. It's super easy and super quick. You should probably be able to make a scarf maybe an hour the first time you're trying to do it because you're still figuring it out. The brand I suggest you use, because it worked really well for me, is the Lion brand Wool Ease Thick and Quick. And you want to do the super bulky number 6, especially if you want a really chunky scarf. And I suggest you do 106 yards, just so you can be safe and make sure you have enough to finish your scarf. I tried using like a thinner yarn that wasn't Lion brand, and it looked horrible. So, just be careful. So, what we're going to do is take our 2 ends of our 2 bundles of yarn, and we're going to hold them together like so. Ladies, we got it? Okay, see? And by the way, they haven't arm knitted before, so I'll be teaching them today. We'll see how that goes, because... So nervous. Yeah, you're probably nervous because I'm the one teaching. You're like, she doesn't know what she's doing.
She don't know what she's doing. I'm the DIY girl. Just kidding. Vicky's fabulous.
Nah, not really. So, hold it together. We're going to take about this much. I would do a little over a foot. You want to be generous with this. We're basically about to make our tail. So, we're going to do this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want to do it about 4 times so we can get a really long tail. And I would even take some extra after that just to be really generous. I mean, you want a really long tail just to be safe. So I even do maybe about 6 or 7 feet. The tail is what's going to help you make your loops. If you don't have a long enough tail, then you might not have enough to make your loops. Okay, so now we're going to start making the loops on our arm. And I'm going to also put the link below of the video that taught me how to do this. And she suggests 12, and I think 12 works great. You get a nice wide scarf. But if you want something not as wide, do less loops. More loops, more wide. So now what we're going to do is we're going to twist these. And the way I twist it is that, so here's my tail. It's going to go behind. So here the tail is away from me and my working yarn. And the working yarn is the yarn that's attached to the actual bundle of yarn. Is right here in front of me. So we have our little loop, our little goldfish, whatever you want to call it. Then we grab the tail and we pull the working yarn so that we can tighten it. And that's our first loop. So we put it on our arm, and you want to make it loose enough so that you can kind of move it. And we're going to make 12 stitches today. The more stitches you have, the wider it is. So it really just depends on what you want to do. I like doing 12 because it makes it really wide. What you're going to do next is, here's my tail. My tail is to the left of me, and my working yarn is to the right. You're going to make like a little gun, a little L. The thumb goes under the tail, and the pointer finger goes under the working yarn. So it's going to look like this. Then, with your other 3 fingers here, you're going to grab both the working yarn and the tail. So once again, working yarn is here on the right, and the tail is on the left. So we're going to make like a little gun. And then the thumb goes under the tail. The pointer finger goes under the working yarn. And with our 3 fingers, you might want to use your other hand to help you gather it. With your 3 fingers, you're going to grab the 2. So it looks like that. Now, we have almost like a little triangle thing. And that's how it looks from this side. So we have grabbed it. We're going to take this hand that our loop is on, and we're going to go under this first part. So see how we have a little loop around our thumb? We're going to go under here. So we're going to go under that. Then we're going to go over the front part of the loop around our pointer finger. And then we're going to go under that and through this loop that is still attached to our thumb. And you're going to tighten that. And when you first tighten it, this is what really got me confused. Because it didn't really look like anything, I thought I did it wrong. So I kept redoing it. But it's right. It's not going to look like anything at first, but that's okay. So once again, thumb under the tail, pointer finger under the working yarn. With our other 3 fingers, we're going to grab it. So it's going to look like that from this angle, like that from that. So this hand, we're going to go under this first loop on our thumb. Then we're going to go over and under the loop around our pointer finger, and then we're going to go through the loop that is still around our thumb. And that part is going to take a little bit of time to understand, but if you keep replaying it, you're going to eventually get it. So, we have our little gun like this. Grab it. We're going to go under this first loop. We're going to go over the loop around our pointer finger and under the loop that's still, see this little triangle here? We're going to go through that and tighten. And then until you do 12. Yeah, she made hers too tight, so just be careful with that. Don't make it way too tight because then your arm will start to hurt. So this is basically what it will look like. It doesn't really look like much, so don't worry if yours looks kind of weird. Yeah, so each two represents basically one little loop. Next, what I'm going to do is, I only have 4 for now, but I thought I would just show you how to do the next step, which is super easy once you get it. It's so easy that you can just watch TV while you're doing it. Like I was watching Breaking Bad and doing it. So what I suggest is take your tail and kind of put it aside because you don't want to get it confused for the working yarn, which remember is the one that's attached to the bundles of yarn. So I'm going to throw this yarn aside, keep it out of the way. So here's the arm with the loops on it. With the same hand that has the loops on it, I'm going to grab my working yarn. I'm grabbing it. Now what I'm going to do is with this hand, I'm going to pull the first loop off my arm like this. And notice how you can see another little loop that's just formed. Take it, turn it this way. So you're going to turn it so that you can fit your other hand through it like that. So basically you have your loop, turn it, and then put your arm through and tighten it. I suggest you tighten it pretty good. I mean, once again, consider that you're going to have to fit more loops on your arm. But the tighter it is, I think the shorter the lengths will be, which I think looks nice. But if you want longer lengths, then just keep it loose. So once again, so now we're going to take the working yarn back into the hand with the loops. So once again, we're going to take the working yarn in the hand with the loops on it. I'm going to take my other hand and grab the loop off of it to make another little loop, and then basically you're just going to put your arm through it like that. So see how I have the loop like this? You're going to turn it so that you can just put your arm through it and tighten it. And once again, it's going to look like it's nothing. It's going to look like a hot mess, but once you get the first couple of ones done, then it starts looking like something. So just a quick tip, be careful, don't do this because me and Rowan both did it. You see when you're on your, like the top stitch, how it's kind of loose and you can make it tight enough to go around? Do not do this. Do not tighten it so that you make another loop, because then what you're going to do is you're going to take it over as if it's a loop, but it's not. So basically you're going to create an extra loop. So be careful, leave it loose like this, and when you're stitching, grab this one. Do not tighten it and grab that one. So leave it loose and everything will be okay.
Look at how much I've done. Like, this is crazy. And how long have you been knitting? I feel like it's literally been 10 minutes. How is this even possible? Yeah. How have I, like, I don't even know.
Like, that's the great thing about arm knitting, is you're gonna feel so good about yourself that you made something that pretty.
What?
Okay, so milkshakes, that is an euphemism for scarves, hello.
Obviously.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah! Okay guys, so now we're going to close our scarf. So whenever it's at a good length, and if you're doing an infinity, just wrap it around you and make sure it's enough to do it. So, we're going to just make 2 stitches like we normally would. So, just 2 regular old stitches. Now what we're going to do is, at this point, let go of your working yarn. It's going to confuse you. Take the 2 that are closest to your elbow and put it over the other stitch and let it go. And with your working yarn, just tighten it up. Really good. That's it. So you keep doing that. So you make 1 more until you have 2 on this arm. Let go of your working yarn so it doesn't confuse you. The one closest to your elbow over your hand, let go, and So now I'm on my last stitch. This is what I'm going to do. Take it off my hand. So you take the working yarn, put it through, and make the slip knot by tightening the loop. And you should do this like 2 or 3 times. Okay, so now if you're making a regular scarf, then you can just cut off a piece of your working yarn, but if you're making an infinity, I suggest just leave it long just to be safe because you're going to need it later. So take your working yarn and just put it all the way through. Mine is pretty long, so I have to kind of keep pulling. And then you're just going to pull it up to tighten it. So you have a little knot. And because I'm super paranoid that it's going to unravel, so what I do is I separate the two and tie a knot just to be careful. And I usually do this a couple times. Even though it leaves like a little knot at the end of the scarf, I like to be careful and I like to be safe and just do it. Just see how I pulled it apart. I did a little knot. And like literally until you feel comfortable, just keep knotting it or whatever. And then that's it. And now we're going to do the infinity part. But if you are done with your scarf, then you can just cut off your working yarn and your tail and you're good to go.
What you're going to do is that you're going to take your tail and your working yarn and you're going to make sure, if they're on the same side, that makes things really easy. But it just kind of depends on how you end, on which arm you end, you know what I mean? So Vicky ended on the opposite side. So basically what I'm going to do is going to take this end.
And she folded my scarf so that it's not twisted.
And it's not twisted. So we're going to take it doesn't really matter which end it is. We're going to take it, and I'm going to do like a little loop, and then a second loop just to make sure, and then I'm going to loop it through each individual little, link here. So I'm going to loop it through this, kind of like stitching. And then I'm going to do the next one. And this can be kind of messy if you want it to. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to be extremely careful with it, just because this part's going to be hidden anyway. You know what I mean?
So you're looping over and
yes, over, and then through.
So how do you know which one to go through?
It doesn't really matter.
So any of them.
Yeah, just make sure you match them up. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to be able to close it. You're basically stitching your scarf together.
So how long would you say it took you to make your scarf?
Honestly, I think it took me about 30 minutes.
And mine took maybe an hour or so?
Yeah, because hers is double the size as mine.
Yeah.
I have stitched together this whole part. You're just going to take your working yarn, and you're going to take your, what is this? Your tail, and you're going to knot them together. If you're super, super paranoid about it,
Like me.
take all of them, take the whole thing, and stitch them through all together.
And really when you're stitching it, you can go through any of the holes.
Yes.
As long as it's towards the top, you know?
Yes, and make sure you don't stitch this part here, because this is the free scarf part. You're only stitching
the width of it.
The width of it.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm just going to go back with all 4. Now I'm just going to tie the ends together like so. And then I'm just going to cut my strings off.